listening to the Pasco Podcast with Mike Carballa. Welcome to Season 3 of Pasco Podcast, a series about leadership and public service. We'd like to thank our sponsors, the nearly 600,000 people of Pasco County, as represented by the Board of County Commissioners. It's through their trust and empowerment of our workforce and leadership team that we're able to bring you this podcast. This podcast is designed to help public servants build leadership skills and leverage them for success by sharing the experiences of our peers.
Hi, I'm Mike Carballa, and welcome to our 48th episode of Pasco Podcast. Today we're talking about something that makes Florida, Florida, wetlands. If you've lived here for any amount of time, you know that wetlands are everywhere, and they're an important part of our environment, playing a critical role in protecting wildlife, managing floodwaters, and even improving water quality. With February 2nd being World Wetlands Day, it's the perfect time to highlight why wetlands matter, especially right here in Pasco County. So joining me today are two of our natural resources team members, Melissa Charbonneau and Jackie Jordan. Guys, welcome to the program. How are you all doing today?
Great. Thank you for having us.
Perfect. Why don't you take a few minutes, Melissa, maybe, and share a little bit about who you are and how you came to work for Pasco County?
Sure. I'm a native Floridian, and I grew up here in Pasco County, coastal Pasco County, and my father instilled in me a love for the outdoors. We used to go hunting on the weekends and camping and fishing. So that's what brought me to go to the University of Florida and get my...
Go Gators.
Go Gators. Get my degree in environmental science with a focus on wildlife ecology and geographic information systems.
Fantastic. Great combination there too, right? So that's awesome. How about you, Jackie?
So I was born in Tampa. We moved to Pasco when I was 5. Back when Land O'Lakes, all that there was a Walmart, a bowling alley, and some cow pastures. So lots have changed. But I've also always been an outdoorsy person. You know, we went swimming in my grandparents' lake, played in the woods, catching snakes, critters, all the good stuff. And then I did go to USF, got my bachelor's and master's degree in environmental science and policy.
Go Bulls.
Yes.
Well, I claim both.
Yes, same. Bull on paper, Gator at the heart. And then I started with the State Department of Environmental Protection, doing wetlands and state lands compliance. Then I worked for Hillsborough County Environmental Protection Commission in the Wetlands Division, permitting and compliance. And then I've been with Pasco for about 6 years now. Started as a biologist in the Natural Resources Regulation Program, and I'm the senior biologist now, so I oversee the regulatory program.
Well, congratulations on that. You guys are both making your mark here, which is fantastic. So we said at the beginning, right, February 2nd is World Wetlands Day. I didn't even know that was a thing, but I think it's fantastic. So what roles do, and Jackie, maybe you can start with this as the biologist here, talk to us a little bit about how wetlands, play out here in Florida's ecosystem, and even particularly here in Pasco County, because we've got a lot of them here.
Sure. Yeah. And we're lucky in Florida because we have so many different types of wetland systems throughout the state. Mm-hmm. But, in Pasco County specifically, like you had mentioned, some of the services they provide, water quality, they promote recreational activities, support fisheries, healthy rivers and estuaries, and also provide critical habitat for listed species and other wildlife as well. So the importance of this day specifically would be to get the county residents involved and have a better understanding of what wetlands are and why they're important to us. And I think you're going to touch on the other parts, right?
Yeah. Well, specifically to Pasco County.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In 2000, there was a settlement agreement which created our comprehensive plan, our conservation element. So that created our wetland regulations here in Pasco County. Mm-hmm. We categorize wetlands as 1, 2s, and 3s. And category 1s are most regionally significant wetlands tied to like river systems or spring systems. So we take a great deal of care to protect them. And our regulations are a little bit different than the state, and they're a little bit stronger. So,
and so that was a result, and that was the result of the county actually getting sued over some new development, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly, correct. So gotcha. That was one element of the settlement agreement. Another element was actually a conservation program and land acquisition. Mm-hmm. So we have our environmental lands acquisition and management program, and we have a land acquisition coordinator, and we get part of the penny for Pasco, 20% of the penny for Pasco for our land acquisition program. And we also have about 6,500 acres at this point in our conservation program.
And you guys are adding more and more to the list every day. I see with the board. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Last week we had about 600, a little over 600 acres go to the board to be put on our acquisition list.
Our commission was very, very proud of that. And I know they actually talked about that. I maybe even pulled it from consent. I don't recall.
They did.
But wanted to give a shout out to the work that you're doing there. And so again, I know it may seem like a lot of Pasco County continues to get developed, but we do take conservation seriously, and you're bringing more and more of those lands in, which will be preserved forever.
Yep,
that's fantastic. So we just came through two major storms, right? Milton and Helene, and Milton especially affected us on the interior piece of the county. But wetlands play a role here in helping to manage flooding as well as extreme weather events. Care to elaborate on how that works?
Sure. So, I mean, especially with Milton, we just saw it, Milton dumped an unprecedented amount of water over the entire county.
Yeah.
And if you notice what happened, the rivers didn't flood immediately. The Anclote slowly started to rise in Cypress Creek, and then with Lacoochee. And, some of our residents are still having some of those impacts from those flooding events. But what the wetlands do, so the wetlands have a capacity to store some of that water. So instead of it maybe discharging directly into the river systems, it allowed a little bit more time lag. So then that way, citizens, if they're able to, they could protect their property, get out of the rising floodwaters way. As opposed to if maybe those wetlands weren't there, they had been impacted, that storage capacity wouldn't be there, so the rivers could have flooded a lot more quickly.
Gotcha. So it's a little bit of a time helper there, I guess, in a way here. Anything to add to that, Melissa?
No, Jackie pretty much covered it. Our wetlands in Pasco County, because we do protect those Category 1 wetlands, and they are big systems, without impacting them, it provides a lot more storage for that water to go.
Yeah.
And it's not just discharging super quickly, so you have no time to respond.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. It's really good stuff. We're not without our challenges here, right? And so what do you see, kind of thinking of either wetlands or even our natural resources, what are some of the biggest challenges that we're facing here in Pasco County?
I think loss of habitat, because
Okay.
there is so much development going on. We do have this wonderful conservation program, but as our Category 1s are the most protected, but sometimes we see some of those smaller systems being impacted, and the connection between uplands and wetlands. So habitat fragmentation can be an issue, and I think that we're working on the 2050 comp plan, and
Yes.
we're working towards maybe making some improvements so we can protect some more of those natural resources.
And I think too, the ELAMP program too is meant to try to improve that critical linkage, both for for habitat, especially making sure that the creatures don't know the difference, right? You just come on out. Oh, hey, next thing I know, I'm in a neighborhood, right? But at least providing that connectivity for them will help preserve those resources.
That's really important to highlight. So our ELAMP program, we have 7 ecological corridors within our county that protect riverine systems, the wetlands associated upland systems, and those connect large tracts of conservation land. So like Crossbar, the Wellfield, down to Starkey Park, and Cypress Creek, the Cypress Creek Wellfield from the district. So those are major accomplishments. We are the only county in Florida that has an ordinance that protects these ecological corridors.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, that's awesome. We're a big county. We have a lot of agencies that we deal with, a lot of departments, and there is some overlapping stuff. Can you talk a little bit about how you guys coordinate and interact with those other agencies or even internal county departments?
Sure. We created a common mailbox because we get at least 25 to 30 inquiries, whether it be citizen concerns or just real estate inquiries for properties, especially when there's wetlands on site. They want to know, what are they going to be able to do with this property?
Right.
So our team reviews those and will respond. We also work with other state agencies for local support of, wetland requirements and listed species requirements as well. So we have good working relationships with all the state agencies.
Okay. Well, that is awesome. What, any success stories about wetland restoration or conservation efforts you guys want to tout?
I think I just really highlighted it a second ago. So just the conservation corridors, the ecological corridors that are connecting those big tracts of land. I mean, the county should be very much proud of having those ecological corridors to make those connections so species can utilize them and move from one big tract of land to the next.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Any other stuff?
I was just saying in conjunction, because as we still recognize the importance of development and growth for the county. So it's kind of in conjunction, the county prioritizes connecting these lands as well. So
Gotcha. I'm gonna tout one that I know I worked on when I started here early in the county, and that was the 4G Wetlands project, which is where we managed to get private property ownership to allow us to take several hundred acres of uplands and turn them into man-made wetlands to do exactly that and use reclaimed water, which at the time we had way too much of it, and allowed us to restore not only habitat, which that proved out. If you drive by there, you can see it even to this day, but also improved recharge back into the Floridan aquifer. So Pasco, I've always felt, has really tried to lead the way in regards to conservation and maintaining our outdoor and more nature oriented type of image. So I think it's fantastic. How do you see future conservation efforts in general evolving over the next 20 years?
Well, I would like to see the Penny for Pasco continue to be supported by our residents, and because they highly regard the Penny for Pasco for roads, for stormwater projects, but also for conservation.
Yeah, I think they see that. I think it's an amazing selling point, and just gracious that the voters have kind of taken that to heart and recognized that all the good that penny does, even though we're only collecting about half of it, the other half is going to the schools, but that half that we're able to take is certainly being invested in a lot of great things, to include conservation. So yeah, 100%, we got to keep that going. Sure,
absolutely.
Yeah. What else?
I just hope that conservation, principles become just more widespread knowledge, and it's just, worldwide, so that we're protecting all of these natural resources for future generations. Well,
education is key. And I think every year and every generation that goes by, I think you see a lot more, folks, especially in the children, and even folks even my age and older, recognize the importance that the environment plays in a lot of the things that we do. And that really, it comes down to balance. And even you'll see even a lot of neighborhoods that will incorporate the natural. And I know where I live currently, incorporating a lot of the natural environment into the built environment is great. So we have a place that we can live, but we also have a place that takes care of things. And people like that kind of stuff, right? I mean, I just spent the weekend out at Starkey Wilderness Park. Just wander in the woods. It was great, so fantastic. How can people just watching and listening today, how can they help protect and preserve? They may not be biologists or have a background in any of this, but what can your everyday person do? Jackie?
I would say supporting and participating in some of the Pasco County Schools environmental education programs, and just becoming educated themselves with local wetland protections and state wetland protections, and just understanding how our programs work, and being able to spread the word through their education.
Gotcha.
I think it's amazing, the educational programs we have for our school system here to expose people to the natural environment. I remember going to the EMC as a kid and pulling fish seines.
My kids went there, and they tell me about it. I didn't even know that it existed.
It still does. And then they have the ambassadors program. Our school board does have some wonderful resources for our children.
Sure. What about other folks? I mean, folks that are property owners. I mean, what if I live on a wetland? I mean, is there something I should be paying attention to, or things that I should think about before doing something on my property? Maybe I shouldn't be throwing all my grass clippings back there, or I don't know. Are there things? What about folks that wouldn't have the advantage of going to the environmental center, but maybe there's things that they can be doing?
Sure. Well, I like to have our buffers against wetlands. So if there's some kind of runoff, it can mediate that impact to the wetland, and maybe not mowing all the way down to the water line.
Right.
Of course, not discharging anything to our stormwater systems or anything like that. And they can always call us.
Gotcha.
We have that common mailbox. They call us. We get phone calls all the time from our residents asking questions and wanting to help.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. Let's switch gears a little bit to leadership. So as supervisors, I mean, how do you guys inspire and lead your teams in such a critical field?
I would say that I feel very lucky because I get to work with a group of professionals, and we all have a common goal of protecting natural resources.
Right.
So I really just try to lead by example, and then also just provide as much support as I can to them when they need it. Well,
that's, and providing support to your people is vitally important. I talk about people, purpose, and performance, and we look at, taking care of people as it's really our number one job as leaders in the organization, because without people, the work does not get done. Right. And that means, a lot of different things, but part of that is just being empathetic, listening, and just caring, recognizing we have a job to do, but we are individuals and people.
I like supporting my staff as well, but empowering them, giving them tools and resources they need to improve their skill set. So, sending them to get authorized gopher tortoise agent trained with the FWC.
Maybe that could save us a few bucks. I don't know. It's getting expensive out there.
It is. Well, we opened up a gopher tortoise recipient site just for county projects, and it saved the county. We got about $400,000 to manage that gopher tortoise recipient site in that land, but it also saved other county departments about $400,000 for their projects.
Yep.
So that was incredible. But gopher tortoise authorized agent, the getting certified in natural areas management, all sorts of different trainings that help their skill set and then inspire them when they're there, because then you're with your peers and you're like, this is why I do what I do. I really love this.
And it's amazing. You talk about empowering folks. Again, that's really the end goal of people, purpose, and performance is, you're getting them the resources, taking care of the people, and they're obviously connected to their purpose, and that performance takes care of itself because they know what to do, and we get those results through our people, not necessarily by our own work. That's what micromanagers do, kind of thing. They kind of pull all the strings, but when you let go and you there's just that ingenuity takes place, and that innovation, and wow, stuff gets done, and it's like you say, you get proud of it. That's fantastic. So obviously as leaders, there's people that we look up to and admire. Anyone come to mind, either in your current industry of environmental science or other industries or areas that you admire, and why?
One that comes to mind, Marjorie Harris Carr. So she was, she did a lot of conservation work in Florida, and she was actually instrumental in halting the progress on the Florida the barge that goes across Florida that was going to go across Florida. And now that's become a greenway. So it expands from the Gulf of Mexico all the way to St. John's River. So it was something that was going to be a negative impact on the environment, ends up being something, it's a resource that citizens can utilize and visitors.
Awesome.
Of course, let's see, Mr. Roosevelt, he was like the king of conservation, right?
Was, right?
Millions and millions, like 220 million acres.
Parks program in the United States, right? Would have been nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is a little different, but David Attenborough, he was the narrator, of Blue Planet.
Yes.
Planet Earth and all those things. I think it's tremendous that he's brought those things to people around the world so that they can have an understanding and love for the beauty of nature around us.
That's great. That's inspiring, right? Obviously, it keeps you motivated in your day-to-day work to have such great leadership in those areas. Let's talk about the next generation. What's your hope for the next generation of environmental leaders and professionals here in Pasco County? Jackie?
I hope to see a little bit more collaboration on a regional scale, local governments more coming together so that we can look more at a regional conservation strategy instead of just focusing on our county, and then just continuing those working relationships with other agencies as well. I love
that idea of regionalism, right? And so one of the things that we've done here in Pasco County, and you may not be paying attention to it, or maybe you are, I don't know, but we've held, this is probably at least our third or fourth regional roundtable with the leaders of both Pinellas and Hillsborough counties too. And, we've been focusing on topics that are of interest to us regionally. Actually, this last time we talked about Tampa Bay water, which is, it's water is a precious resource. And this ties into that. So maybe there's an opportunity there. I don't know. We'll have to talk a little bit about it. The next time we meet, actually, we'll be up here in Pasco County. So maybe we'll have some further conversation about that. Get you up there in front of, 19 elected officials. You might love that.
No pressure. She'd do great.
She'll do fine. She'll do fine. Melissa, anything to add?
For our future leaders, I just think it's really important to get yourself out there and have different experiences and this field is so diverse, right? You can go in so many different avenues. So find those leaders that you're interested in Pasco County, and we're always glad to have people shadow us.
Okay.
And also, the penny for Pasco, once again, to continue the penny for Pasco.
Keep it up, guys. Keep it going. Yeah, 100%. Any advice you'd give to anyone starting a new career in natural resources?
Yeah, like Melissa said, it's just such a vast field. Volunteer opportunities with both public and private companies as well, too. Just getting volunteering internship opportunities to experience the different types of fields that are within this big field to figure out exactly kind of how you want to make your impact in the world.
Very good.
Jackie was an intern here with
yes.
Pasco County.
Oh, really? Okay.
So our internship program, we get students from USF about every semester. Right now, we have another intern coming through our program and getting all sorts of exposure. And we've been lucky to take on quite a few of those interns as employees here in Pasco County.
That's great, and that's exactly the way that it should be. That's how it's designed. They get experience, and sometimes, hey, maybe the fit works, and that's awesome. Well, I'm glad the fit worked. That's great. All right. So, either of you graduate our leadership development program?
I did.
Jackie did.
Jackie, you did. So, what'd you think of the program?
I thought it was great. I really loved like the boot camp part, just getting those different types of trainings and stuff.
Sure.
And I think the integrative training stuck out the most to me, and I really enjoy that. So I try to like use that in my daily life and leadership too.
That's awesome. Any advice for anyone out there seeking to apply to that?
I would just say if you don't get in the first time, just keep applying. They they have 2 sessions now, so that it can be a little more accommodating. But it's definitely worth it. I definitely recommend going through it if you can.
Fantastic. This is great. I mean, I've enjoyed learning about this, but got to learn a little bit more about you guys right now. So just a couple of quick rapid fire questions for you that just curious, no pressure, but we'll start with the one that's the most important. iPhone or Android?
Android.
iPhone.
Oh. Melissa. I can't deal with green on the text. It drives me nuts. Music or silence?
Music.
Yeah, me too. All right. If your job were an ice cream flavor, what would it taste like?
Ooh, Rocky Road.
Ooh.
I was going to say a bit nutty pistachio.
I think both are equal. Very good. I like that. Sneakers or sandals?
Flip-flops.
Perfect.
Flip-flop.
100%. 100%. Let's go Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
Really? I'm kind of a Hulu guy. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Very good. Text or call?
Text.
Ooh, depends on what it is, but text.
Text? All right. I like that. Home cooked meal or restaurant?
If I'm cooking, then a restaurant.
I
enjoy cooking. It's kind of like my decompression of the day.
I'm with you 100% there. But don't get too good at it. Then you go to the restaurants and then you're like, then you're too
exactly.
critical. So, yeah, exactly. And running a restaurant, I don't think is a fun thing. So if you could rename your office a coffee machine, what name would you choose?
Go Joe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't even know what I would say either. I think we'll end on that. So listen, Melissa, Jackie, thank you guys both for being here today. It was great having you both. And a special thanks to our media relations team who makes this effort possible. And thank you for joining us for this episode of Pasco Podcast. I'm Mike Carballa, and we'll see you next time.
For more information on Pasco County government, please visit mypasco.net.